Thank you for having us. We are really excited to be here, and we thought that we would start with an ancient artifact from what we hear was called the year 1984. These are some photos from a very special birthday.
So take it in, process a little bit, see if you recognize anyone in this photo. This is also the night of a special birthday, Sean Lennon's birthday party, ninth birthday party. His father you might recognize as John Lennon. And it was a very special night. People were, eating cake, drinking wine, stuff like that. And a very ambitious young entrepreneur at the time, not a last minute invite, where he took the opportunity to bring a gift to the birthday boy. His name was Steve Jobs, and he brought one of the original Macintosh models to the party. And in these photos, he is demonstrating Mac Paint to Keith Haring and Andy Warhol. And as you see, they're not screaming or running out of the room. They're very intrigued and mesmerized by this. And they went on and they left this occasion and actually applied it in their art, which is really fascinating. I don't know if you are familiar with this. But the photo over there at the right-hand side of the screen, that was the actual drawing that Keith Haring did in real time at this birthday party. And I think this is really interesting to talk about and to look at, because I think this is a really good example of that it's not just the tool that is used, it's the concept and idea behind the tool. That is very recognizably Keith Haring's work. And I think that's something really interesting to consider.
There are always new technologies, new paradigms, big shifts, and some artists stick with what they know, and that's totally fine. And some artists try these new tools. And oftentimes, when they try these new tools, they actually are redefining art and culture itself.
And that doesn't mean that creatives shouldn't challenge or question ideas. That is really important to society. But we're also encouraging you to be open-minded and be curious to see if there's tools out there that you're not familiar with that could help your workflow.
So we are Solnique as a company, and as individuals, we are really inspired by that photo and relate to that energy that was going on there. You'll see a little more of our work later, but we very relate to the openness, the curiosity, and the blending of different worlds. And we blend different worlds, the two of us. So I come from new media, social media, and Jacob comes from working in theater and TV and traditional filmmaking. Uh, oops. And here are some of the clients we have been lucky to work with over the years. And some of the people behind those projects are here today. I'm really excited about that. And what has enabled some 20-somethings with a production company to be standing here talking about this? We are part of a wave that has already happened, a technological shift, not AI, but the accessibility of filmmaking tools, the rise of social platforms. And as people who are interested in the past, present, and future of humanity and culture, that is where we've started to integrate some AI technologies.
Yeah, and that accessibility is super important of resources, especially when you have limited resources and you're trying to work with on larger ideas. But I knew a lot of creators in this room can identify with the problem of the small team dilemma, small team, big projects. And, when you have resources, it really allows you to dream larger. So these are three of the most recent projects that we have done. We did an ad campaign for Brooks Brothers with the captain of the Knicks, Jalen Brunson. And all of these projects, including the one I'm going to talk about right now, all had their own obstacles and restraints. The Brooks Brothers ad, we only had 30 minutes to shoot with Jalen. And we were hired the night before we shot this ad. And we were promised a script and creative, and we didn't get one. So we had to do the entire creative and script ourselves. The central one is for the Friends experience connected to the Warner Brothers IP. That is the T's are on the bottom. That was just Matt and an assistant that did the entire campaign. The Vince Camuto campaign, one most recent one. As you can see, that's a larger team. About 20 people on our crew, which is amazing, and we're not used to that, and it's a luxury to have. But it was just Matt and I doing all the line producing as well as directing and all the creative, and we shot in 3 locations.
And especially without AI and these new technologies, it would not have been possible for us to have the organizational skills to manage all of that ourselves to then deal with a 20-person team.
So let's talk about like what are our specific use cases of how we actually incorporated this into our production processes.
So a big moment for me was coming back from a trip to Colombia, and I was on the plane and I started playing with some image generation and incorporated it into some footage where I had this fun creative effect. And I remember being mind blown and the person next to me just like peeking over, and it was just an incredible moment of, oh wow, this new thing is possible to have this crazy effect that would have taken a lot of time any other like a year ago.
And the reason why we're here today, this is actually done on LTX. This was for that Brooks Brothers campaign that I was talking about earlier. So when we were in the car going to Westchester, I had my laptop on and I was actually trying to visualize these shots. They didn't create it for me. It was very much a tool, but it helped me in rapid speed as I needed to be. It helped me prepare for it. So when we landed on the set and we were rushed in a pitch meeting with the creator director of Brooks Brothers, I had something in real time to show him, which helped really made us work at a very, accelerated pace.
When we are in meetings, we'll want to be focused on collaboration and creativity, and be in the moment with whoever we're talking to. And so we use AI to help record, to take notes, to come up with action items afterwards. Oops.
Next. Great.
Our production assistant, who is in New Orleans and did not have a nice photo for our website, we took some photos of her and then were able to generate a nice portrait headshot to match ours on our website. So, spoiler alert, if you go to our website, solnique.co, that is AI generated. As well as a constant problem with clients is they have content, photos especially, that are not optimized for vertical posts on social media. And so now there's these great generative expand tools that help just change the aspect ratio from square or horizontal to 4:5 for Instagram. Please post 4:5 on Instagram, by the way. And then as well as for the Vince Camuto campaign he recently did, you can clearly see there's a light there. We did not Windex the windows as we properly should have, and so there were some smudges. And a lot of these things you could have done with technologies similarly years ago in Photoshop, but it is now so much faster, easier, and effective to use the new AI that's been incorporated into these products.
The common use case is pitch decks. Last night at the LTX event, we heard a lot of executives saying that they utilize this, and we do as well. We think when we use AI generated images, not for the actual images that we use in the campaign, but it's a nice way to kind of visualize something for a client, especially on photos that you can't find stock images for, like putting spaghetti in a handbag.
Yeah, for especially the specific use cases, these AI technologies have been really helpful. And as much as we've dipped our toes into AI, that is nothing compared to 2 years ago when we were at a co-working space full of creators and we met a guy dressed in red, and his name was Khalil. And he came up and said, "Hey guys, you guys see what I'm working on? I'm using AI to talk myself through all of these things that I had no idea how to accomplish. I just shot a commercial, and let me tell you about that." And here's Khalil to tell you about that. Toyota